Tiff is real. She's here. Sometimes I feel her physically. Like,
what does she do? Does she sit in your lap? Does she give you a hug?
Yeah.
Little ghost
No,
hug?
I just feel her. Like, I feel her around me.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't love that, Tiff. Can you back off? Can you stop walking
Personal space
through me, please? Life as a mom, entrepreneur, wife, friend, and human is a lot. Join me, Katie Jacobs.
And me, Brandy Chandler, every Thursday as we have unfiltered, hilarious, and relatable conversations about the ups, the downs, and the chaos of it all.
Pour a glass and pull up a seat.
Because you're always welcome at our table. Hello, welcome to She Did What?
Today's episode is my personal Super Bowl.
She's like beaming over here.
It's like the morning you bebopped in for book club. That was me for today. For She Did Ghost.
If you couldn't hear that, she said ghost.
It's our special Halloween
It's
episode.
a Halloween special.
Yes!
I feel like that movie Halloweentown, and I love
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. I love the first and the second.
And the second. The second is fabulous too.
It was made for us. It wasn't made for
we
the
watch
children.
that every Halloween.
I know. It's so good.
It's delightful. I want to pop this off by saying I think there are two types of people.
Okay, and who are they?
People who are really open to the spiritual realm, who have experiences, and everyone else. And you, my friend, are everyone else.
No, I've had lots of spiritual encounters. So Katie wanted to do this episode, and I was like, Katie, I have one ghost story, and you were there. Like, that's it. That's all I got.
This is really, we'll talk about ghosts. I have got some great ghost stories, but we also, we'll weave in a little spirituality.
We'll see where this goes.
So I think I am a person who's very open
I think you are.
to that realm.
You have a lot of experiences.
I know. So my first experience was we were at my husband's in his childhood bed.
Together?
And yeah, we were married. Or we were like together.
It's just
Actually,
weird
I don't
that you
think we were
said
married.
Childhood bed.
No, like I'm sorry. Okay.
I was like, is this a real
Okay.
life? Is this a ghost story?
This has already gotten very weird.
JJ was a ghost. And it's like the movie Ghost.
All right, let me back up.
He put his arms around me.
Shut up.
We made
Also,
the pottery.
For you younger people, go watch the movie Ghost.
Oh, yes.
Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore. Oh my God. The pottery scene.
Love Patrick Swayze. Maybe it's the dancer in me. I don't know.
Oh my God, I love him too.
Oh.
Wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crackers, you know? So we were in like the room he grew up in, and I woke up like there was a man standing over me 100%. And I was terrified. I will not sleep in that room.
Oh, you've never slept there again?
I think I have, but I hate sleep. I have, but then they moved his bed out of that room, became an office. So I was very happy. But I couldn't sleep like any other time I was in that bed. I could not sleep. I was terrified. And my kids don't like sleeping in that room because we've set up the kids in that, and they don't like sleeping in that room. I'm like, you know what? That's okay. Don't sleep in that room.
Spooky.
There's something in there. But that was very light. Like, that's not my story. That's just sort of, I was like, okay, I don't like that at all. And if you've had an experience like this, it is not like, it is very real. Like, our experience was very real, right?
Yeah. Was that your first experience?
Yeah, I believe so.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that was the first. So that kind of made me realize, like, I think I don't like this. And it was like, you can tell, here's the other thing about people who have these experiences. You can tell if it's bad energy or good energy. And what I felt was bad.
I do believe that, because when we were house hunting, there were some houses we went into, and I was like, somebody died here. Like,
we toured a house, and I can tell you, JJ and I looked at each other. We were freaked out. We were like, get us out of here.
Yes.
I don't know. It was like, you can just feel the energy. It's
we
like,
had 2 or 3 like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I believe that. I'm a believer, Katie.
Well, great, Brandy. So we moved to an apartment in Athens in 2007 called Pinyon Pines. And it was the most haunted experience of my entire life.
The ghosts are just following you.
Let me set the stage. If you have lived in a college town, you know there are very specific seasons for leasing. So we were very skeptical that we would even find a place to live because it was a weird time of year. A single female law student told us she had gotten mid-semester an internship in Atlanta. That could be totally accurate. But anytime I had a question or needed to give her a rent check, she just happened to be in town. I think she moved out because she was terrified.
She gave you her ghost.
She gave us her ghost. So we move into this place and immediately the cupboards are slamming. It is like somebody wants us out of there. It was you never felt alone. So JJ, I've always been sensitive, and JJ like started looking at me and being like, what is going on?
Oh, JJ
and
found the ghost too.
He had an experience. He had two stronger experiences than I had. I was out of town and he fell asleep on the couch, and he woke up with the same feeling that I woke up in his bed with. He said someone was standing over me, watching me sleep.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if it's not the places? What if it is literally the ghosts following you around?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. Because I don't.
I'm new at this.
No,
sorry.
No, it's not. And I don't know that it's necessarily. I mean, maybe. I guess my kind of thought is that person is somehow tied there to that space, whether it's a burial ground or a place where something happened or whatever. Like, I really truly believe that, and I'll expand upon that.
Okay.
But he said he was like, there was someone standing over me, and it really freaked him out. And at the time, he was playing for the Mets. He was working out with Jeff Francoeur in the offseason. He was jacked. This huge, jacked baseball player was terrified. Because this was something like we would just be laying in bed and the cupboards would slam in the kitchen. It was a 1-room, tiny little, like probably 500, 600 square foot place. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what the hell is going on? So then he got home one day, and it's one of those lock situations where you have an interior exterior bolt, and then inside you have a bolt that's not accessible from the outside. Mm-hmm. And so he unlocks the door and he can't get in. He's like, what? Katie must be in there with the bolt. So he's calling me. I'm not answering. He's like looking for my car. My car's not there. And then he's like, oh my God, someone broke in. So he goes around, looks at the sliding door with the whatever that's bolted still. He's like, what is going on? Did I have the wrong place? Goes again, tries it, still locked. He's like, okay, the number fit. What is happening here? He's like, I'm just going to try it one more time. Click, opens. It's just weird. Mm-hmm. We moved out. So
we were out.
I looked at him and I was like, I'm scared. And he was like, I'm pretty uncomfortable at this point. Yep, I don't like it either. And so we ended up moving out of that place early.
Wow.
It was really creepy. Like, the cupboard, I mean, you just be laying in bed and a cupboard would slam. And it's like right there. I mean, it's us to that office door slamming. Why?
I don't know.
Are you okay? Are you still following along for the ride?
I'm here.
Are you here for it? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I will say, we never saw the cupboard slam. We never saw anything. I didn't see. No, yeah. It was always like when we were in bed, or you would be sitting on the couch looking at the TV, and behind you in the bathroom, the cupboard would slam. Like, I never saw a cupboard slam. But it was it was in our apartment. Mm-hmm. I want to debunk. It was not outside the apartment. It was not anywhere else. Like, we could not figure this out.
We believe you.
I have goosebumps. In our building here where we sit, 160 West Clayton Street, we are haunted by an awesome ghost. She's the best.
She's friendly.
I say good morning to her every morning. We have named her Tiffany. Natalie, my friend Natalie named her Tiffany. I don't know why. We say good morning, Tiff. She messes with lights. She has turned on the steamer before. Like,
she spoke to us.
She spoke to us. We have had so many experiences with Tiffany. The door I caught on camera. The door closing the other day on the bathroom. JJ's like, oh, sometimes that happens. I'm like, I've never seen that happen. I work here way more than you do. Tiff is real. She's here. Sometimes I feel her physically. Like,
what does she do? Does she sit in your lap? Does she give you a hug?
Yeah.
Little ghost.
No,
hug?
I just feel her. Like, I feel her around me. And I'm like, I don't love that, Tiff. Can you back off? Can you stop walking?
Personal space.
Through me, please? Tell the story about
yeah,
sorry, I'm getting all excited. Tell the story.
I normally come in before your store is open. So you let me in and we walk through the store and I get distracted.
For those of you who don't know, we record in my office.
Yes.
At my 5,800 square foot
it's
retail
really our
store.
Recording studio now.
It is.
And it's taken over.
And it's an enormous store and it has a mezzanine loft at the very back that's a couple hundred square feet.
Very old.
Yes. This is a very, very old building.
So I get distracted, and I was distracted walking through the store back to the office, looking at clothes, and Katie and I were yabbering away about nonsense, and we could hear a woman speaking. We were talking, so we couldn't make out the actual words, but I immediately had goosebumps. It's my first ghost encounter.
It was up in the loft. You could hear her. Yeah. It was wild. And you were like, holy.
Because I thought Katie was faking all of these years about her store ghost.
Thanks, Brandy.
I thought she was just doing it for the gram.
No.
Trying to get some follows and likes.
I have recorded so many things in here, including one time we were having some work done in the store and painters were coming. And I had forgotten, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'd forgotten to drape everything. So at 4:30 in the morning, I come in to drape everything because, the painters get there at 7:30. So I go in to drape everything and it's just this banging and I recorded it. Those of you who've been following, this was 7 years. I recorded the whole thing. I mean, you could hear movement and noises.
Well, and it just hit me. We had a video. So we record on multiple phones and computers and everything. And one of my videos last week when we were recording, only my video, my shot of me, went slow-mo in the middle of the video.
Yeah.
And so you can see I never touched my phone.
Right.
And then the rest of the video is
What was the first thing I said?
It's Tiff.
I said Tiff.
It just hit me though.
It's Tiff. So there have been so many encounters here, including ours. One of my managers, she was freaked out. She came in the morning to open and she had done a clopin, closed, then opened. And she comes in and the steamer is plugged in with steam coming out of it.
And so that, for you that don't steam, it runs out of water.
Yeah.
If you leave it on for an hour, you're out of water.
Yes.
So the fact, either someone refilled it, Tiffany, or she just turned it on.
And she was freaked out. She was like, Katie, were you in this morning steaming? And I said, no. And she was sent out an APB to anyone who might have been, which was 2 of us. And it was this is bizarro.
Yeah.
The Morton Theater, which is on... If you come to Athens, Georgia, there is a haunted walking tour that is put on by historian Jeff Clark, who is fabulous, a fabulous human. It is the most fun I can guarantee you will have in Athens, Georgia. It is my favorite. I've done it 3 times. I'm going to do it again this fall. It is one of my favorite things. He teaches you the history of Athens with some spooky stories, and you really learn a lot about downtown Athens, Georgia, and the history of the buildings and the people and some spook. But the Morton Theater acted as a mortuary at one time, which is right it's catty corner. And that is a very active place for spirit. So I think we just got a spirit from there. I think someone just wandered over and liked I
like these clothes.
As my grandfather would say, he liked the cut of our jib and said, I'm going to hang out here. I think it's pretty nice over here. I like these ladies.
She's like, oh, look at all these girls.
So Tiff is our ghost and we talk to her and she's just playful. You can tell her presence is very, like, I've never been scared. I've been like, okay, Tiffany, don't walk through me.
Tiffany, the friendly ghost.
But she's awesome. I love her. She's great. And she's not a scary, like, you can tell her presence is, again, going back to that, very positive.
Mm-hmm.
I can shut up for a minute before I do my last couple of stories.
No.
Do you want to talk about?
Well, I wasn't sure.
Brandy's like, I'll talk about angels. Listen up, baddies. Our Patreon is growing like crazy. If you're loving the podcast, it's a phenomenal way to hear more exclusive content, including our monthly catch-ups, which are absolutely hilarious, uncut episodes, shorts, and coming very soon, interviews, and more content piggybacking off of our most loved episodes. We can assure you we are unfiltered and maybe even a little feral. So go to the Linktree on our Instagram page at Podcast She Did What to get straight to our Patreon and join today. Remember, if you join as an executive baddie, you'll get an episode shout out as well. We can't wait for you baddies to see this extra content.
So what do you think ghosts are?
I guess my thinking is they're bodies or entities that have some sort of unfinished business here, and maybe they're stuck, or like I've heard, and I opened the windows in the room where my dad passed away. I couldn't open them because they were sealed, but like I opened, because they had everything closed, I like opened everything. I don't know. And you could feel like his spirit was gone.
Yes.
But like maybe someone whose spirit gets stuck, maybe, you know, I mean, a lot of the ghost stories, if you've done a historic walking tour, a historic ghost tour or whatever, and like I've done it in New Orleans a few times too, it's like very much a love lost or a relationship or da-da-da-da-da. There's some kind of heartbreak involved. There's some reason that this spirit couldn't leave. And I'm sure that's something we manufacture. But I truly believe there's something that just is unfinished here for them, you know?
Yeah. And so that's why I wasn't sure where you were going, if you had a hard belief on what a ghost was. So I struggle with this because I'm a Christian. And so I want everything to fit into kind of a Christian worldview, you say. Like I try to view everything from that lens. And so one of my most favorite sermons that a preacher here in Athens gave, and he's still an active preacher here, was about what are angels. Because everyone thinks angels, like someone passes away and you say, oh, they're an angel in heaven looking out for me now. And that is 100% inaccurate. You didn't know that? Well, nobody does. I don't know why I'm surprised. I didn't know until I was a full grown adult and I heard the sermon. So angels are beings created by God. They are not people that have died.
This is in the Christian ideology.
Yes, in the Bible, it very clearly says, and angels were created before the world as we know it was created.
Why?
They have different purposes for God. Some are warriors, some are messengers, some are protectors, some are worshipers, like they only worship God. Like when they say the angels are singing, that's their job. Well, he is God. Okay. I think he can have them. And so I that blew my mind because just popular culture, that is not what angels are. So people, when they die and they believe in God, they are the saints. So when someone passes, they're not an angel in heaven looking out for you, but they are a saint. Okay. Katie's like, I don't know about all of this. So I just thought that was very interesting. And also, angels are described in the Bible, and there are different types of angels. There are cherubim and seraphim and archangels. And they look really weird. They don't look like the cherubs.
Wait, they're all male?
All angels are male. All angels.
So now we know a boy wrote the Bible.
So all angels are male. And like, they don't look like cherubim have 4 faces. Like a human face, a lion face, an ox face, and an eagle face. And they have 4 wings. Seraphim have 6 wings. And like some of their wings cover their feet. Some of their wings cover their face maybe. And then they fly with some. So it's all in the Bible. But I find that very interesting.
Are archangels, are those good angels or bad angels?
All angels are good.
Oh, okay.
But archangels like Michael.
Wait, isn't there a bad angel?
Well, Lucifer.
Yeah. that one.
The devil is a fallen angel.
Okay. I knew there was one bad one.
This could go real deep. But anyways, but back to all of this. So I'm like trying to get my biblical view on ghosts and if any of this fits in.
Okay.
So in Ecclesiastes, it says that when a person dies, his or her spirit goes back to God. The body returns to dust and the soul of that person no longer exists. So the soul would go to God and it wouldn't be the soul as you know it. So a lot of that to me, because when my grandmother passed, I literally could feel her spirit. The window was open and there it went. Like physically could feel it. So I think a lot of this can potentially tie together.
From the aspect of a more scientific stance, in physics and chemistry, the law of conservation of mass.
Don't even know what you just said already.
Well, you will in a second.
I'm out.
The principle of mass conservation states that the law implies that mass can neither be created nor destroyed, although it may be rearranged in space.
Oh.
Or the entities associated with it may be changed in form. So this is a scientific law. And you guys can Google this. It's like So yes, and I do think there is sort of this bridge, right? And I've always had trouble with like, you just don't exist, and not from a fact that scares me. I mean, that doesn't scare me. It's just like, what happens? Where does the spirit, the soul, where does this creation go?
Yeah.
And I just have I've just always thought about that. And I don't have any hard or fast answers, but it has always occurred to me. And then sort of having this feeling of the spiritual realm.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking like maybe the meaner ghosts that we're talking about are the not as friendly feelings you have when you have an encounter. Maybe that's like a fallen saint, a saint that doesn't go back to God or didn't believe in God. And so they're mad. And then maybe Tiffany is a believer.
I don't believe that. I really like my personal belief, because I have felt both like a very sort of, I don't want to say demonic, but very like scary negative energy. And then I felt the opposite, like a very loving, positive energy, helpful even. Like we say Tiffany's a helper. So it's like, I've felt both of those things, and I think they're very different. And I think that whatever, there's different reasons.
Yeah.
But I've just always struggled with that. If mass can neither be created nor destroyed, it just evolves. Like then what? And it sort of brings up the idea of reincarnation. And anyway,
well, it has to be created somehow, because how does a person get here?
Well, Brandy.
When a mommy and daddy
really love each other, the P goes in the V. Boom, baby. So
is that how you're going to give it to your son?
Yep.
We'll do a little ghost birds and bees.
So
I wonder if the ghosts get it on.
That's hot.
I don't know. What if
or cold? Maybe it's cold.
Off the rails. We are off.
All right.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween. I have 2 more stories.
Okay, give them to us.
All right. So my grandparents lived in Montana in our family home for a decade before my grandfather got sick with lung cancer and passed away. And after that, my grandmother moved to be closer to my mom and back to Georgia. And then my brother and his wife moved into the family home in Montana. And we started sleeping in my grandparents' old bedroom. And so we would have, at this point, Griff in a crib in one of the downstairs rooms, and then us just, 3 steps away in my grandparents' old bedroom. And Johnny Lee started sleeping there because he was just like 3.5, and it's a log home and it's not big, and so it's tight quarters. So, and then my brother and his wife had the like master kind of suite upstairs. So we're in, we put Johnny Lee to bed, and we would always sit in the kitchen where my grandparents loved to sit and hang out. this home has a lot of special memories. Like it's a very important place to me. So, and our family. So we're all cooking. Our big thing is like get the kids down, and then we would cook these big meals and hang out and just laugh, listen to music, and just have a good old time. So it's probably 10:30, and we're just hanging in the kitchen, and Johnny Lee's like, "Mom, Mom," and I go running in. And he said, he's talking like a 3-year-old. He said, there's a man's. And I said, where? And he points at the dresser. He said, he's right there. He was right there. And I said, okay. I have goosebumps. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's okay. There's nobody there right now. You know, everything's okay. I said, but I'm like, immediately, it was my grandfather. I'm like, what did he look like? And he's like, he's a man's, but he's a good man's. And I'm like, and then he just goes back to sleep.
And so he never met your grandfather either.
He didn't. My grandfather passed away, I think 2 months before I found out I was pregnant. But I told my grandfather I was going to name him. Oh. I knew my grandfather was dying. And the last time I saw him was at the holidays at Christmas. And I told him that we were going to name our first after him, whether it was a boy or a girl. Mm-hmm. Johnny Lee would have been Anna Lee. So anyway, kid passes out. Right back asleep.
He just wanted to tell you, Granny. Grandpa was like, there.
Papa. So, come to find out, I am packing up to go home, and there's a chest, and we have ski stuff there too. So, like, you know, it's a family home. There's people's clothes everywhere. For those of you who have a shared family home, you know this story. So the bottom drawer, I hadn't used the bottom 2 drawers in the dresser, but you know, you're cleaning out, you're like doing we call it the idiot's check, make sure I haven't left anything behind. I open the drawer and my grandfather's ashes were in that drawer where my son said my grandfather was standing. Yikers. I didn't know they were in there. We obviously wanted to spread my grandmother and grandfather together. That was one of his wishes. We need to get out there and do that because we still have it. But he was there in the drawer. And I was like, okay, Papa. And I really think in my mind, he came back just to see Johnny Lee.
To say hi.
I think he just was like admiring him. Just, you know how you watch a sleeping kid and you're just like in love. And I think Johnny Lee woke up and saw him and then he was gone.
Very interesting.
So, yeah.
Very interesting.
I know. And
I wonder if Johnny Lee has the touch, the like sensitivity too.
Well, kids supposedly are very sensitive because they haven't lost that sixth sense.
Another good movie. There's an angel with angel movie with Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan that I love. I haven't watched it in forever. Called City of Angels.
City of Angels. Okay, can we link to all of these?
Maybe if I'm on my A game. Katie.
Okay. Can you get on your A game?
Yeah.
It's a boundary I've been wanting to discuss with you. So, my last thing, and I told you this yesterday, I've been seeing my dad.
Oh, yes.
So the first was at his memorial, and not seeing him, like I'm not seeing him, but like
you don't know.
Feel like I'm seeing. So at his service, his celebration of life, because he was an old, like there were a lot of men with a shock of white hair, I would just turn and think, and I said this, I was like, I just keep seeing, thinking I'm seeing my dad in this room. Mm-hmm. It was his country club that he loved. All of his friends were there. So my brain was like short circuiting, tricking me out, like dad's over there, dad's over there, dad's over there. You know, it was just crazy. And then there've been a couple other times, most recent, where I've seen someone that looks almost exactly like my dad. And JJ, I'm like, look, that looks exact. That's my dad. And then it turns out it's not. But at football, so I took my son to football Saturday morning, and it was early. It was a little chilly, a little nip in the air. And we're on one side of the stands of a high school football field. And I look across, and Griff's playing on the field. And I look across, and I see this man sitting by himself. I'm going to cry. And he has this like shock of white hair. And he's sitting like, you know how your dad sits? Like, he's just sitting like, I mean, maybe it's
the
just
man pose.
Maybe it's how a dad sits, but he's sitting like my dad by himself in the stands. And I watch to see if someone sits with him, if whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, my dad, he, you know, the cargo shorts. He's got like my dad's, like what my dad wore. Mm-hmm. And I can't see his face, and I can't, like, it's too far away, but he's just sitting there watching the game. And I was like, is my dad here watching the football game? I know it, like, in my heart, I know it wasn't, but like maybe I don't know.
It's like a comfort. Maybe it was Saint Dad
Maybe.
having a little visit.
I'm sure it was just a man who had a kid on the field, but a grandchild on the field. But
Well, he wasn't there the whole time, though. Didn't I ask you that?
no,
You
yeah,
looked
because
back
the
later.
kids then. So my husband showed up with my other two sons, and like I looked back later, and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But maybe it moved, or I didn't investigate it. I didn't walk over, but I think sometimes you just want to believe it too. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe you want to believe that there's something else or some.
Yeah. Well, yesterday when you told me that story, there's this episode of Grey's Anatomy where it's been years since Derek has passed.
I didn't know Derek passed.
Oh,
Spoiler.
Well, it's been like 6 years, people. So it's been years since Derek has passed, and Meredith was really sick with, I believe it's when she had COVID. And so she was like in a coma for weeks, months. And they're on a beach together and they're talking.
Is she in a dream or real life?
Well,
In the show.
she's visiting him
Oh, okay.
in another realm. So,
And I'm outlandish. Okay, Brandy.
these are my stories, Katie. Don't mess with them.
You got it,
And
babe.
so they're talking, they can see each other, but every time she tries to walk closer to him, and they're on a beach, every time she tries to walk closer to him, once she reaches a point, the distance goes back.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her, he's like, it's not your time. You can't come to me. So they can talk and see each other, but they can't like touch or really be together.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's beautiful. I love it. Jared comes back from the dead quite a bit, everyone.
Wow.
Not from the dead,
Grace.
but he visits her.
Again, and I'm outlandish.
I love my Grey's Anatomy.
I think sometimes like we do, maybe our brains trick us out, or because it does give us comfort, because maybe it's just my son had a weird dream and thought he saw something and he didn't. But like in my heart, it kind of makes me feel good. And the coincidence that his ashes just happen to be there, it's like maybe it's all coincidence and maybe none of it's real. But like, I kind of love it. So like if ghosts are real or not, or spirits are real or not, or people visit or not, I like it. Yeah. I'm into it.
And a lot of when Derek comes back to see Meredith,
Oh, Jesus.
it's when she's like so sick, she's trying to decide if she should die or not. And he talks her through it. And she normally stays around for the kids.
Brandy, you really brought your A game today to this episode, and I appreciate that.
I actually like it. This episode has my stamp of approval.
Wait, so this is all in one episode?
Oh, no. I'm talking about our episode. You're talking about
I'm getting confused now.
I'm talking about the podcast. I like this episode. I was weary at first.
Why?
Well, I just didn't know how weirdo this was going.
You don't trust me.
Well, not when you said I want to do an entire episode about ghosts. I was like,
And
it's not really our range of conversation.
But you know what? I think people love Halloween. It's the first, like in the South, you get your first nip in the air. It gets a little more cozy. And like sometimes the little spooky element is, I don't know, just as fun.
To Cheeky Peach. Tell them the secret password. She did what? Pay them $5 and we will let you meet Tiffany.
What is this? Barnum and Bailey in 1920?
This is the She Did What fundraising ghost tour 2024.
Brandy, this is one of the weirder schemes I've heard.
Just give me some money and I will take you on a Tiffany tour.
Okay.
She spoke to me once.
You'll be like, and here are mannequins, and Tiff. We'll have someone stand behind like that whiteboard up there and just like bang something.
JJ will be like, ooh.
That's JJ anyway when he has to work here.
I'll have Billy come in, run around with a sheet on her head.
Y'all, maybe that's what we've been hearing this whole time is JJ just moaning his disapproval.
These women.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Share your things with us. Ghosts, saints, angels, whatever.
Beliefs. It's so interesting. This is fun stuff to talk about. You know?
Oh, yeah.
We also would love it. We are, I don't even know how many episodes in we're at this point, but we are trucking, and something you can do we get your texts. They mean so much to us. Your DMs, they mean so much to us. When you guys go and you rate and review and follow and download, because that's what the algorithm likes.
Yes.
Please, 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 if you love what we're doing, it takes a lot of time, money, effort. And if you love us, support us and go join our Patreon.
Yes. We love interacting with you guys.
It really
what makes everything just the best.
Yes. So please let us know what we can do over here. And if you love us, support us, and go join Patreon. It is such a great place to be.
We'll see you later, ghosties.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed our conversation and can't wait to share another episode with you next Thursday.
Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. To keep up with the latest, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Podcast She Did What. We'll be sharing updates, behind the scenes, and announcements you won't want to miss.
And if there's anything you'd like to share with us, whether it be a personal story or feedback on our episodes, you can leave us a voicemail at 762-499-2201 or head over to our website, shedidwhatpodcast.com. Also, feel free to leave us a review down below. We'd love to know what you think.
She Did What is hosted by us, Brandy Chandler and Katie Jacobs, and produced by Studio D Podcast Production.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next Thursday. And remember, it isn't always easy, but it sure as hell can be entertaining.